Now that I have you, Michael, and your book, The Heart of Transformation, and it's a book that it's influenced a lot of people right there, whether you're a senior executive C-suite or, as we found out, you could be a Gen Z in the workforce or a young millennial. People are finding a lot of value in this, including me, who's a creator, an entrepreneur. So in the previous video, we're talking about value, understanding your value, how to establish a very mature relationship with your clients. I constantly run into this conversation. It's a struggle that sometimes I have, but also when I work with, other creators. So generally speaking, when I say creators, these days I'm a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster, but there are also a lot of Instagrammers who create content and collaborations with brands and clients. Because this field of called influencer marketing is not brand new, but somehow there are a lot of people kind of new in the industry. We've worked with a lot of influencer managers on the brand side who's brand new to it and really struggling. We've also worked with a lot of very mature, incredible influencer managers. So the struggle with value is sometimes for us as a creator, we launch a short video, a piece of blog post that's really well written, and we're constantly measured based on what's your performance in the first 7 days, 14 days. And that's a really hard conversation because there is a way to fake it with ads. But generally speaking, the value comes later, post 2 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks or more. All the leads are coming in. But by then, Michael, the painful conversation is because you're so measured on, recency and immediate returns. And it's really, really hard to sometimes maintain a retainer or to resume or pick up better and newer projects. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Wonder what your thoughts are.
Well, I guess I hear you talking about is in a world that seems to prize immediate and short-term return. What do you do with things that maybe where the value is longer? It's like a book like mine didn't come out the gate, selling Harry Potter levels, and it will never sell that kind of level. But it is a book that has had, it's going to be, oh gosh, it'll be 2 years in July that it came out, and it still continues to sell at a fairly, steady pace, kind of the dull roar, as it were. And then, so in life and in work, what do we do with that? And I think it's a great question because so many people are looking for that immediate impact, immediate return, immediate number. And a lot of that is driven by people who are paying for things, oftentimes are backed by corporations that have the funds and the budget to pay for things. And most corporations are working on a publicly traded short-term kind of stock result world. And there are more examples and more books written and shows done about how, in business, we mess things up by being so short-term focused. But that's really because a lot of companies exist at the big casino that is called Wall Street. And so people are looking for short-term returns and influencing a lot of things that require something of a more long-term investment or a long-term growth or a slower, slope. And so I think that one of the things that we always have to be aware of is what are we providing short-term and what are we providing long-term? And oftentimes I like to think of providing just enough short-term that allows you to get the trust to go long-term. And that's a strategy for your work or whatever it is you do that you have to be aware of and you have to manage. I've talked, to so many leaders now in traditional organizations that one of the things they never had to worry about was their brand. Like, look, I've got the big job. I show up at the big company. I do the big work. I get the big paycheck. But their brand matters now inside the organization and outside the organization because you can't help but either have one or not have one. And then I think about the people that are out there, doing their influencing on Instagram or whatever it may be. And I read somewhere that like 1 in 3, kids now, in school are thinking of influencer as a career. Well, here's the issue. If a third of us are influencers, nothing's getting done. There has to be actually somebody doing things the influencers can talk about and refer to. And the whole, again, I'm going to sound, maybe I show my my grizzled age here. But the whole influencer piece is so immediate, and you can skyrocket up immediately, and maybe you can stay there, but you can drop down just as quickly. And so you might say, hey, that's okay. I want to take that shot and I want to skyrocket up and make the big dollars and I'll be set. But it's sort of like acting. There's very, 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 very few that actually do that to the level that they become PewDiePie. It's just they don't, right? Most people are trying and not getting there, and they're putting all their eggs in that kind of win the lottery basket. And I think that's dangerous when you put everything in the short term and nothing into the long-term value, because the long-term value, as it builds up, brings in more things. And pretty soon, long-term value becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy that just keeps you adding value. You have a reputation, where short-term spikes and can drop just as fast. So I say be aware of the short-term for your immediate brand, but be aware of it and pursue it in as much as it helps really build out your long-term. Now, those of you who hit it big and became, the PewDiePie of your medium, okay, good luck. And, Brad Pitt, Ryan Reynolds, God bless. But I know that those individuals went to countless, what's the word when you go and you try out for it? I'm forgetting now when you go and you try out for something. But they went and they got rejected.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What is the word? Anyway, but they got rejected, so many times. Went to a casting call.
Yeah, exactly. Casting call.
They got rejected a gazillion times before they got the job. That's the story that nearly all of them have. And it's really hard to keep moving forward in a world where you're continually getting rejected. And so, you need to have a short-term plan and a long-term plan, I guess, is my thought.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, to basically pick up what I've also learned from the conversation is for those I prefer to call them content creators rather than influencers. So for us content creators, knowing that a lot of brands may be short-term thinkers, I think we have to design our career, even if it's part-time, very differently. Like, for example, your revenue streams cannot just come from brand deals. You also have to come from, for me, consulting work and work I do with my clients, for example, like you, Michael, but also my affiliate marketing income, through blogs and videos that I'm writing. So diversifying your interest, your revenue streams are going to be very important as well. So